Hello everyone, and welcome to the first subjectmath.com webinar. It is a live broadcast, so feel free to use the chat and ask questions whenever you see fit. Throughout the last few days, I've received a few questions via Facebook and Twitter, and I will start by addressing those questions and trying to provide some answers. In the meantime, feel free to use the chat and ask more questions or follow-ups or clarifications, and I'll try my best to address them. Okay, so without further ado, I think we can start. Okay, so the first question that I was asked is, how important really is the grade of the subject math, and what should be my goal? So the answer is not that plain and simple as you might think. So I'm not the expert on the subject, but I have an educated guess of how admissions are being made in different universities, and I can give you an example. Suppose that you are in the admissions committee and you have, for the upcoming year, you have 10 spots for math PhD students. And you get maybe 500 applications. Obviously, you cannot let the committee read 500 applications. That's just impractical. So what you need to do is to do some sort of filtering, at least a first phase filtering. So someone gets all these 500 applications and put them in a table. And that table has different columns: the regular GRE grade, the subject math grade, the TOEFL grade if you're an IMG, if you're an international student. It has your GPA, it has maybe the names of your recommenders, etc. And someone has the responsibility to take these 500 applications and create some sort of a filter and some sort of a cutoff, and let the committee read thoroughly only 50 or 75 applications. So what your goal should be is not be filtered out in the first step. So you need to meet the cutoff. And what the cutoff is, something that really it's hard to say. And obviously it will be higher in more prestigious universities, but it will be lower for others. One thing you can do in order to maybe gauge your expectations is to visit a forum called Mathematics GRE. Let me show it to you. So, and in this forum, I'm sorry for the pixelations. Live streaming through YouTube is limited to 240p. Anyways, in this forum you can see applicants sharing their credentials and whether they got accepted or got an offer from this university or that university. So you can use this forum in order to gauge your expectations. One thing you should mind is that this process that just described, this is my educated guess. That's first of all. And second, there are some things that can make a specific application maybe go through this filter, regardless of your grades. If you happen to know or worked with someone in that university, some professor in that university, that professor might give the committee a hint that this specific application should be read thoroughly, regardless of the grades. And once your application goes through this first step filter, obviously your statements and the letters of recommendations, they carry more weight. However, in order to pass through this filter, you need to have a good GRE, the standard GRE and the subject math GRE grades, and as well as a TOEFL grade if you are an international graduate. If you have any more questions regarding this subject, this specific topic, please use the chat and I will address them. There is a few seconds delay between the actual broadcast and what you see on YouTube, so I might need to go to the next topic and then maybe answer a follow-up questions later. Okay. Another thing that you mentioned on Facebook is what should be my goal for the subject math exam. So because we don't really know what is the cutoff for each year for each specific university, we can't really set a specific goal. But what I would recommend doing is first, when you start studying for the exam, do one practice exam in a simulating environment, and we will talk about what simulating environment is. So you need to do one exam and get your grade, not necessarily the points grade, not 780 or something like that. You need to know what is your percentile. For example, 82 percentile or 91 percentile. And once you do that, I think what is reasonable to aspire to is to just cut the difference in half. So if you got in your first practice exam, you got 90 percentile, 95 would be a reasonable goal. If you got 80, so 90 would be a reasonable goal. You need to cut the difference from 100 in half and aspire to reach that specific percentile. All right. I think I can move on to the next topic. So what practice materials currently available? So of course there is my course, subjectmath.com, which encompasses all the material necessary, and practice questions and practice exams, and there is a specific study guide online. Let me show it to you. So once you get to our website, if you scroll down, go to the handouts and study guide. Oh, there it is, study plan plus handouts. You're gonna get to this page, and here there's a study guide, study schedule, and you can see our recommended 6-week study schedule. Well, of course, we are not alone in this market. There are few others practice materials, and let me show them to you, and if I may, give my 2 cents about them. So the first one is Cracking the GRE by Princeton Review. It's fairly good summary, targeted to this specific goal of succeeding in the subject math, and it probably a good value for your money. It's not that pricey on Amazon. However, what you need to mind is that while it contains good references for the material, the questions are a bit easier than what you would expect, and there is only one practice exam, And from time to time, you can spot a mistake, either in the material or in the question. So you need to be critical while reading that. Having said everything, it is a good thing to have, specific for a reference. If you need to remember real quick how this theorem or that theorem goes, you can look at this book. Okay, so that's the first one. And another book that exists on the market is this book. It's the GRE Mathematics by REA. And I'm not a fond of this book. It begins with a summary of all the materials, but it contains much more than needed, and it might confuse you. The study might not be focused enough in order to succeed. So it's definitely something that you need to be wary of. And as far as it has 6 practice exams, and in my opinions, those exams are, number one, very harder than the actual GRE, but they're not hard in a good way. They are just too hard in order to gauge and in order to practice and have some value from it. In addition, you can spot some questions which are far off outside the syllabus of the GRE. For example, this question that you see here about, well, I guess it's hard to see because of the pixelation. It's a question about a stiff beam and 2 supports that are few feet apart and loaded with uniform blocks. It's something from solid mechanics. It definitely not something that you can see in the GRE, and seeing that questions during a practice exam can really throw you off, and the rest of the exam might not be as stimulating as you would want. I have another example over here. Another example. This question: consider two-player game with payoff matrix. What is the min-max value? So whoever the one that never took a game theory class would not understand what's even written in this question, and the game theory is not part of the subject math GRE syllabus. And again, same comment applies. It can definitely throw you off your game, and you would really it's basically forfeiting this practice exam. Okay, so this is my opinion about this book. You can find few more books on Amazon. You can find books about that are dedicated to the answers and solutions for for past actual GRE subject math exams. And I don't really know what is the content of those books, but it's good to have solutions, I guess. Although one thing that you need to keep in mind is that the published past exams of the subject math GRE are easier than the current, what would be the current probably GRE exam. So when you're using them in order to practice and gauge your expectations, you need to keep that in mind. And another thing that you can probably do is to figure out what are the correct solutions yourselves. Solutions are not enough when you reviewing your practice exam after you've done it. Just figuring out what is the right solution, what is the right answer out of A, B, C, D, E. That's not enough. You really need to figure out what you did wrong and what you could have done in order to solve it more accurate and faster. So if you're using some sophisticated method, that takes you 8 minutes to solve the question, well, you get the right answer, but you wasted 8 minutes, which is, well, you have 2.5 minutes for each question, so it's more than what you should spend on each question. You really need to think and figure out what is the best way, and whether you have some sort of a trick that can give the right answer quickly. That's as far as the solution books for the past exam GRE goes. Okay, our chat seems quite empty, so I really encourage you to write questions or even comments about what you've heard so far. Even if you want to say that your 2 cents about what I just said, please feel free. And if what I'm revealing here is helpful, that it would be nice to see it in the feedback or here in the chat. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. Study guide. So we have published our 6 weeks study guide schedule. It's available for free on our website, and you can see it over here. It's incorporating all of our all the 8 video modules in a schedule, and 4 practice exams are scheduled in the middle. And I want to say something about those practice exams. I'm writing here that you should prepare using a simulating environment. So what it means? First of all, you need to sit in front of your desk, no computers, no phones, nothing but a printed out exam and a printed out answer sheet. You can print out the answer sheet from the official practice exam published by ETS. So just print out an answer sheet and answer on those. And when you're checking your answers, after you're done practicing, you only regard the questions that you marked in your answer sheet, because you need to practice this skill as well. You need to mark down the answer sheet it would be a pity to lose points because you missed something in the answer sheet. I recommend using an actual number 2 pencils when you're solving the exam. You'd be surprised how these small things can throw you off in the actual GRE. So you might as well practice them now. Make sure that you have at least, I am holding 2, but make sure you have at least 5 sharpened number 2 pencils. While you're answering 66 questions, the pencil stops being sharpened, and it might irritate you, and you need to switch to another one, and pencils may break. So make sure you have pencils of good quality. In our practice exams, at the preface, I'm writing about my recommendation of a specific pencil, and in that note, eraser is also it might be funny, but it might sound funny, but eraser is also it's also an important part of solving an exam. Well, you don't need to worry about erasing anything on the actual exam, but you need to worry about erasing something on the answer sheet. And in order to do that, you need to use a really fine eraser. So this is my eraser. It looks like a mechanical pencil, but only with eraser instead of lead. And it's fine enough in order to erase one answer of one question without affecting the answers of other questions. So again, in the actual GRE, you don't want to use some big eraser that will erase 5 questions at a time, and then you need to mark them down again. So those little things really makes the difference. If your goal is to move from 800 to 900, those things are really important. Move on to the next topic. So how to max my potential, and how to and what is the goal of the advanced module. So as I said, if you really want to max your potential, you need to take at least 4 practice exams in simulating environments and really critically follow them and grade yourself and gauge your expectations. So and as far as the advanced module goes, modules 1 through 7 gives you all the material that you need in order to succeed in the GRE, and you really should focus on those. Once you have enough confidence and you really want to take your performance to the next step, you can take the advanced module. So the advanced module, it has a few extra topics that might be on the exam and might not. And if they do find their way to the exam, you're gonna encounter maybe 1 question about them. For example, Eisenstein criterion for irreducible polynomials. So you might need to you might get the definition of a irreducible polynomial, and then you might need to use Eisenstein's criterion in order to figure out that the polynomial is irreducible very quickly. Otherwise, without this criterion, that question might take you a few extra minutes. So the advanced module gives you, number 1, it gives you a few extra topics that might give you an extra question or an extra 2 questions in the exam. So really get your grade to the max of your potential. And number 2, and maybe more important, and the advanced module gives you tips and tricks, an advanced method of how to solve ordinary questions more rapidly and exponentially faster, if you will. One example that comes to mind is there are very nice methods of finding eigenvalues using the determinant and the trace. So you don't really need to find the characteristic polynomial, which is time-consuming task. So that's the advanced module, and I really recommend doing that after you've done with module 1 through 7, and it will really help you. I'm positive it will really help you to maximize your potential and maximize your grade. A note about that. The realm of PhD in mathematics in the US is becoming more and more competitive, and while others are getting a really good prep for the GRE, and if they do, you must have a really good prep for the GRE, because the test is curved and you are judged by others. So you really need to take advantage of everything available in that market. And aside from my course, which the entire package of materials that cost money, but the first module is free, and we have the questions of the day. You can find it on either Facebook or Twitter, our accounts. Let me show you. So you can find the question of the day. Just click on here or on Twitter. That we have a few questions that are for you to practice, and it's updated every 48 hours. And we have few videos with sample questions on YouTube, and well, you really need to take advantage of that. There are I think between 4 and 5 practice official ETS published practice exams. But my comment from before still applies. Mind that those would be easier than the actual GRE that you're going to encounter either in September or October. Most probably, I don't have an objective knowledge of it, but that's my opinion. And well, you really need to take advantage of everything available if you want to get your dream PhD program. You really need to max your potential and get the best grade that you can. Your goal should be to get through the cutoff of even the most prestigious PhD program. And our study guide will also help you with that. Let's see what we have next. Okay, financial efficiency. So I got a few questions regarding what would be the best way to purchase the course, and the best way is, first of all, whatever you do when you're purchasing our course online, whatever you do, please make sure to follow the links, the official links on our website. Either here or use the code that is presented over here. And here's why. Our course is published on a platform that's called Udemy, and Udemy is just a platform for online courses. And Udemy is for-profit organization. They would like to get their cut, and they are publishing independently all the courses that are published online there. They are just marketing them independently, and whenever they get to a specific client, they have the authority to charge whatever they want, or not whatever they want, but they have the means to set the price, to fine-tune the price, and once they do that, they keep most of the profit. So what I can guarantee you, that if you're using the links over here, you're gonna get the best prices for my course. That's the best prices, rather than purchasing them directly through Udemy, meaning not using the codes here. Truth be told, it's a win-win situation. You're gonna pay less, and I'm gonna get a higher cut of Udemy's profit. That's regarding the video modules, and regarding the practice exams, they are published on Amazon, and each exam is just shy of $30. And specifically for the webinar watchers, what I can offer, and it's specific for today, a promotion for today, is some sort of a 1+1 sort of promotion. If you buy one of the practice exams and you send me an email with the receipt, then I will provide you with a significant discount on the second one, which is at $10 instead of $30, meaning that you get two books for $40 altogether. So, and that's specific for whoever watches now the live webinar, and specific for today. So please make sure to take advantage of that promotion. I guess I can wait for a few more seconds. Otherwise, all I can do is just wish you happy studies. And well, it's not fun, but try to make it fun. The GRE subject exam is really not a good representative of what you going to encounter in a master's or a PhD or any graduate math program. It's really different. It really doesn't measure knowledge. It measures quick perception, and because of that, you really need to make the practice going. It's like the Olympics. You know how to run, of course, but you need to practice and make sure that you get to the top of your ability in the competition. That's exactly how. That's exactly analogous to this kind of standardized test. You know how to solve those questions, but it might take you longer. So you really need to practice and make sure that you get to the top of your skill in the exam date. That's why I recommend 6 weeks. If you're gonna take 6 months to it, you're gonna get fatigue, and you won't have your best ability during the exam. And even experienced PhD students would have hard time just picking up an exam and getting a good grade, just out of the box, without practicing beforehand, because it's really a matter of skill that you need to practice and build, and be in the top of your shape in the exam. We have one question from I hope that I pronounce it right, Shikar, on our chat. Feel free to write it. I'm listening. So the question is that whether to pursue a PhD or master's in statistics. Your suggestions, please. Well, it really depends on what your goals are. For the short run, if you want to get a certificate that U.S. employers or any employer in the world would recognize, and it would resonate with the employer, then masters would be a good choice. You can do it within maybe 2 years, get the certificate, and then really start working as a professional, as a mathematician in a professional environment. And if that's your short-term goal, you can really do that. PhD is designed for a career in the academics. Basically, you're practicing research and you're doing a novel research. And if your goal is to stay in the academia and advance in the positions there and eventually be a professor, you have to have a PhD and then a postdoc and even a second postdoc, and etc. So PhD must be your next step. Having said that, PhD is also recognized in the industry. So you can still do a PhD and then go back and work in a professional environment. But you should mind that a PhD might take several more years. So it's a trade-off. I hope that I addressed the questions and that you are satisfied with the answer. Let's see if I've shown you all that I want to show you online. So this is our Facebook. We also have Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter and get the best the quickest updates and notifications about if we are throwing a promotion. Another thing that we are very proud of is our Excellence and Diversity Scholarship. We ran one scholarship earlier this month, and this is the winner of our 2016 scholarship. And I will let you know if we get the funds and do another round of scholarship, a diversity and excellence scholarship, towards the October exam. It really depends on funds, and this scholarship grants the winner the full package of the videos and the 2 practice books. And I see a question here on the chat. The scholarship is for U.S. residents, as you can see in here, and also you have to have a bachelor degree from a U.S. institution. Sorry, that's just the terms of the scholarship. Could you? I was asked to elaborate on the career path that I myself took. I'm in a PhD program at the University of Michigan. Hopefully, soon to be a candidate, which is the last step of the program. After I've done 2 bachelor degrees and 1 master's, and eventually decided to do a PhD after a few years of working. I joined the PhD program with the goal of staying and really developing and advancing in positions in the academia. So a PhD was a natural choice for me. Someone asked if I'm taking a world tour with my GP program, and well, I'm broadcasting that live on YouTube, so it can't be more worldwide than that, right? Thank you very much for the question. Okay, I think I have definitely talked about everything that I wanted to mention, and I think I have addressed your concerns so far. As usual, you can always contact me, you can always email me, and I'll try my best to answer in a promptly fashion. And until then, I'm gonna wish you good luck and happy studies, and I'm gonna wish you a good grade in the upcoming September test, or if you're taking the October test. Take care. Yours truly, Gilad Pagi from subjectmath.com.